Hello and welcome to Nuts and Bolts. Fantastic to have you here. We've got a great session on today. Today is all about, I think my team hate me. How often have we thought this as new leaders, right? We often have thought, my team hate me. They just don't want me around. They're not listening to what I say, all these sorts of things. Now, I want you to consider and reflect on a few things before we keep moving forward, because we're going to go through some things about why they could dislike you. But first off, I want to make sure that that is the case. So do they hate you really? Or do they hate the role you're in because previous leaders that they've had have been less than great? So maybe it's the role that you're in that they just don't like. They're thinking about past experiences and going, oh, is this person going to do the same thing? So just consider that. It might be the role that you're in. So that's why you're sort of copping the brunt of it. Is it that you're feeling a little isolated or alone? Because that's really, really common as a leader, because the team have each other to talk to and vent to and everything else. But when you're the leader, who do you have? You don't really have the team to go and vent to and have a chat to. So just make sure that you've got people in your circle. So it could be co-workers that are at the same level as you. It could be friends that might not work there, but you can vent to. You need to have that outlet, because being a leader is very isolating and you can feel very lonely. So just make sure that it's not that the team hate you, it's just you're feeling really isolated and alone. Just check that that's not sort of what's happening here. And if after all that you've thought about that and you're still feeling like they hate you, then there's 10 common things why team members don't like their leaders. Okay, so I'm going to go through those 10 common things, and I want you to think about, are the couple of these things what I'm doing, and therefore I am making this situation occur. So let's just go through them. So the first one, you don't prioritize. So everything is of high importance. So I've seen this before when a leader came in, they gave their team this big task, and it was to redo this big document, when they were 6 weeks in, they'd got piles and piles of paperwork on their desk, they were getting through it, it was coming up really, really great. And then the leader came in and said, no, we don't need anymore, we need this, we need to do this. So you can imagine what the team felt like. They just spent 6 weeks going through, updating all this stuff, rearranging it all, reorganizing it, making it user-friendly. And then before they got even to finish that and have that sense of achievement that they finished it, they get planted with another task straight over the top. Oh, this is of high importance. Now finish this. So why did I just do that for 6 weeks? Was it a waste of my time? Was it a waste of my effort? All of a sudden you've lost trust, you've lost credibility, they're not going to listen to you anymore. It's really, really heartbreaking for them to think that they've spent all this time doing a particular task and then you come in over the top with something and that's just as high priority as the first one. Well, so don't do it, okay? Make sure, yes, you've got some high priority tasks. If you've got something coming down the line that is high priority, but your team are flat out on something else, it's when you have to learn to say no, or yes, I can do that, but it's not going to be able to be done until, in 3 weeks' time we can start a team on that. Or give me that, but then give me some more resources so I can complete that. Or another alternative, you go to your team and say, hey, you guys are doing a brilliant job on this particular task. I know there's 3 or 4 of you working on it. We've just had another task come through. Are we at a point now that we can go down to maybe 2 people finishing off this task and I move to another task? Or do you still all 4 of you need to be working on this? So get the collaboration of your team to determine whether, you can break that up or whatever. So don't prioritize everything of high importance. So the other one, do you treat them like employees? And what I mean is you don't know anything about them. You don't know their personal situation. You don't know their likes, their dislikes, their strengths, their opportunities, their wishes, their wants, their career aspirations. If you don't know any of that, then how on earth are you going to develop and build their capability? Honestly. So if you're just treating them as somebody who's going to clock in and clock off, then I probably wouldn't want to work with you either. So just don't do that. Get to know your people. Get to know what makes them tick, where they thrive, where their strengths are. How can you leverage off those? What do they want to do ultimately? You know, all those things are really, really important for you to know so that you can do your job as leading them, you know, as best you can. So make sure you do that. Another thing that, you know, team members don't like is if they see that you're not fighting for them. So if something's coming down the line and you know, there's a reorg or whatever else, and they don't see you stepping up to the bandwagon to sort of say, hey, my team's done this, they've done that, they've done this, they've saved the company this amount of dollars by doing these particular projects, you know, they deserve to stay here, or whatever it may be. If they don't see you fighting for them, then they're going to wonder if they can rely on you, and you're going to lose trust again. So if there is an instance where you can go to the mat for your team and you honestly believe, it has to be authentic, right? You honestly believe that they deserve this, then yeah, fight for them. And, you know, that will go a long way with regards to credibility and everything. Don't tell them to have, oh, yes, you need to have work-life balance and you have to make sure that you balance it really well. And, you know, one's just not as important as the other. They're just both with self-importance. And then you work from 6 till 9 at night, you know, 6 in the morning till 9 at night. You don't have lunch breaks. You don't have coffee breaks. You work through. It's no good saying that stuff if you're not doing it, okay, because they really look to you as an example. So if you're saying one thing but doing another, it's going to confuse them. It's going to irritate, frustrate, all those sorts of things. So just make sure you're setting the example that you want them to follow, not only just with your words, but with your actions and behaviours as well. So if you want them to have a balanced home life, you have a balanced home life. If you want them to exercise during the week, you exercise during the week. Okay, so set the example as much as you possibly can. Another reason is that, you know, some leaders never relax. They're always on point. They're always on task. They're always, you know, everything's task focused. You need to make sure that you need to balance those energy levels as well, and maybe laugh a little bit more, share a bit more about yourself. Went to the footy on the weekend. It was awesome. Took the boys, whatever. You know, share a bit about you. Let people get to know you. Have a bit of banter. That's all good. That's all part of fun of being there. You don't lose credibility as a leader if you can still engage and share yourself. Okay, so don't be on point all the time. Just learn to relax a little bit in those times where you're not in peak and, you know, things aren't going 100 miles an hour and you guys can breathe in and out. Use those times to, you know, share a bit. And have a bit of a laugh and a bit of a banter. That's okay. Do you micromanage? That's another big one that they don't like. Do you micromanage? So you give out tasks and projects and then you're looking over their shoulder every 5 minutes or coming up to them every day going, how's that going? How's that going? Show me. Tell me what you've done so far. Let me have a look at it. You know, back off. Unless they come to you for needing support, or you've set a particular schedule. Maybe you've said, this is a 6-week project. We're going to meet up every Monday at 9 a.m. Unless they come to you with, hey, I've got a block or a roadblock that I can't get past and I need your help. Absolutely, let's dive in there. But don't forever keep going looking over their shoulder, okay? You'll get your weekly rundown when it's due to come. All right. Do you prioritize looking after your manager versus looking after your team? If you do, that is going to really annoy your team members. Okay, so if they see you being a yes man or a yes woman and doing everything that your boss asks, so I call those people funnels instead of filters. So everything comes down from management and they just funnel it down. Oh, we're doing this, we're doing this. As a leader, you need to be a filter. You need to filter. So when things come down, you go, okay, that's advantageous for my team. Yes, I understand we need that bit. We don't need that bit. We don't need that bit. They don't need to know about that little bit because that's just going to put fear amongst them or whatever. So you're a filter. You're not a funnel. Okay. And if the manager comes down and says, oh, we need to do this and we need it to be by yesterday, this is your opportunity and this is what he's paying you for. This is your opportunity to turn around and go, that was a great idea. It's not going to get done in that time frame, but I'll tell you what time frame it will get done in. You need to turn around and be the leader of that team. So you're not going to be the yes man, yes woman and do everything that they say and then your team suffers, okay? They don't like that. And you shouldn't do that as a leader anyway. Remember, you're a filter, not a funnel. Do you consider knowledge as power? Do you treat your people like mushrooms, only just feeding them little bits of information as you see fit? If you're doing that, if you ration information like that, then you are going to create all sort of angst. Now, what I mean, you're filtering the messages coming down, but you're filtering like you're taking all the jargon out, you're taking all the technical speak out, you're taking all the percentages and this and that out that won't be relative to your team. You're filtering the information so that what you convey to your team is what's going to be impactful and effective for them. So what is going to impact their day-to-day? What is going to impact their particular role? How is that going to impact it? What does that look like? So you're going to decipher all the messages that are coming down, filter them, and then portray the information that you need to portray. Okay, so don't hold on to information because it makes you feel important. Make sure you share that information. The earlier you can share any changes that might be coming, the easier the change process is going to be. Okay, so just be aware of that. Yes, there's going to be confidential stuff that you can't share. There's going to be time-bound stuff that you just can't say. But if they're asking, hey, I've heard a rumor that this, and this is going to happen, and you can say, well, you know what, there are discussions being had, but we don't know any details at this stage. But I'm going to keep my ear to the ground and make sure that I let you know if something comes up. Okay, so you're being honest, but you can't share anything because nothing's been set in concrete yet, and you're just going to be scaremongering. So we don't want to do that. Okay, are you above getting your hands dirty? So do you like to sit in your ivory tower and never see your people? If that's the case, then yes, they're going to hate you because they don't even know who you are. So yes, get off that chair, get out of that office, do some management by walking around. What do I mean by that? Go around, chat to them. How you going, John? Hey, Sally. Hey, Rupert. How was, the footy game the other day that I knew you were going for? Hey, is everything okay? I know you learned this line just last week. How are you feeling? This is the first time you're on it yourself. All those sorts of things. Make the time to go and, have a chat to your people, see what's happening on the floor, see what's happening in their lives. Get out of the ivory tower, get your hands dirty and start getting that management by walking around every morning. Almost put a priority in your calendar that 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. every morning you go for a half an hour walk and you catch up with everybody and have a bit of a chat. All right, the number one thing that your team members will hate the most is if you are indecisive. So if they come up with, hey, listen, we're thinking about doing ABC, and you're going, yeah, possibly, maybe, no, I don't know, I'll have to get back to you. Oh, make a decision already, okay? So make a decision. You are paid to do that as a leader. That is part of your job, is to make decisions, okay? So you will drive them crazy if you're endlessly flipping and flopping and waffling about and not making, any certain direction or decision. You need to make one. You need to acknowledge that sometimes you're going to make a mistake. Sometimes it's going to be a bad decision, but you made it, okay? And you will learn from that. And then the next decision you make around that situation is going to be a little bit different. That's cool. We have all done it, okay? So don't feel like if you make this decision, the sky's going to fall in so you can't do it. Make the decision, because there's nothing that your team members hate the most than somebody who can't make a decision and flipping, flopping and waffling all over the place, okay? So I hope that helps. All right, so I don't think your team members hate you. I think there might be some traits that you need to look at and go, okay, I can tweak this or make it differently. I also want you to remember, is this because you're feeling isolated and alone? And that's a really, really common thing in leaders, to feel like, they don't have anybody to vent to and talk to. If that's the case, seek some out. Have a coffee date every Thursday with your co-workers that are leaders the same as you, and say, hey, come on, let's make a coffee date at 10 a.m. or 10:30 or for morning tea or whatever. because I'd really like to, chin wag with you, and I've got this idea that I'd like to bounce off you. Make that happen, okay? Because you need to have that outlet as well. If you thought all of those things and you still think that they hate you, then have a look at those 10 things that I've mentioned. Maybe a couple of them are sneaking into your everyday and you need to pull them back out again. All right, so I hope that helped. Have a fantastic day. Don't miss our session next week. It's all about questions you should be asking yourself about as a leader. So questions that you should be asking yourself. I'm going to go through those. And if you've got any burning platforms, if you've got any issues, concerns, worries, whatever, contact us at ask@teamleadertoolkit.com. We'll put a video together, we'll get it to you, and we will share it with the world. So I hope that was fantastic for you, and I will see you next time on Nuts and Bolts. Bye for now.